But now let's go into FSS 2020 proper. I did say at the beginning of the show that the FSS 2020 vision is for Nigeria to be the safest, the most secured, and have a diversified financial system. I gave a brief from even the Soludo days to Sanusi to Emefiele days. DG Barrow retired. He was the coordinator of FSS 2020. So I've been following you guys for a very long time, you know.
Great.
But let's take a look at what is the role of NDIC in achieving this vision.
Thank you, Nancy. Let me recall by saying that the FSS 2020 was designed to achieve or deliver an engineer model of a financial center to assist in deepening the local domestic market, strengthening integration with external financial market, and then promote sustainable economic development. Now, for the NDIC, we have been there right from the beginning of the journey in 2006 through the development stage to implementation and what have you. Now, specifically, NDIC deposit insurance system is designed to promote confidence in the financial system and the economic financial stability. So you can see there's a nexus between the strategic objective of FSA 2020 and the NDIC. But what have we done specifically? We have rebranded. And we're still repositioning ourselves to be the best deposit insurer in the world by 2020. That's audacious.
Very audacious.
That's audacious. That's eloquent commitment to excellence. And what that means is the leadership at the management of NDIC believes, and strongly too, that as we efficiently pursue the delivery of our statutory mandates of bank supervision, bank guarantee, bank restructuring, bank liquidation, and all of that, we would be seen to be, contributing or impacting the FSS 2020 strategic objective. But let me quickly, before I conclude on that question, tell viewers and Nigerians that we are one of the 11, implementing agencies that have a very agile strategic plan that is aligned with the strategic objective of FSS 20. So we are visible, we are contributing, and we are putting our best towards the realization of this.
Now, the issue would be that you said you have an ambitious commitment to be one of the best deposit insurers by 2020. You will start from Africa first. What's your position in Africa? You will start by being the best in Africa. How has it been with the other deposit insurers?
Let me come in here.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to deposit insurance system in Africa, I can tell you that we are the best at the moment. By next week, we're hosting the whole African deposit insurance in African countries.
Oh, really?
They are coming down here. We have a kind of training for them.
Oh, okay.
And apart from that, there's these French countries that uses one currency,
yes,
the CFA.
The CFA.
And incidentally, it's around Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and the Republic of Benin. All of them, they gather the 78 and form one deposit insurance because they are using one currency. They have the same coverage against the insurance. They came in here, we trained them. Kenya has just established, Ghana, they had to come here for training, which we did to them. What do you call this country next to Kenya, the neighbor? Uganda. Okay. Uganda, they're taking up this year. They also came in here for a complete 2 weeks and we had to train them. And this program we're having in Lagos by next week, 25th to 28th, is something to prove to them because they have to learn one or two things from us. And incidentally, in NDIC, there is no 1 week, in short, no day, you then get a call from another deposit insurer to find out how we do things. There is nothing under deposit insurance system that Nigeria deposit insurance has not done.
Tested.
We have now become a learning point for European countries. When I say, I mean countries like UK. There are things we did here they have not done. We have gone far when it comes to that. So getting to that, our vision of being the first, to me, is not too big.
Okay, so how is NDIC pursuing the effective guarantee of depositors' funds? Because I think that is very crucial.
We have to do that. We have so many things we are doing. Let me give you an example. A bank that is licensed and is collecting deposits, our duty is to ensure that those deposits are all right. And for that reason, we established 2 ways, on-site and off-site inspection. We go to the field, look at the books of the banks, their affairs, to ensure that they're operating in sound manner. Not because of their survival, but because of the other people's money. That's why we go in there, we look at their books, advise, and we always do it jointly with the Central Bank of Nigeria since 2009. Apart from that, where I'm heading, the director surveillance. Surveillance is off-site. Off-site, we take returns electronically from the banks on daily basis, weekly, monthly. All we need to do is to sit down, analyze to determine the health and the problems of such an institution.
So that will bring
and when there's a problem, we propose solutions. And when the solution involves us, we go in and do it together with them.
So that brings me to the question, how healthy are Nigerian banks? And how healthy is Nigerian financial institutions?
Nigerian banks are healthy.
2 questions, you know, because the banking institutions, the banking system is different. The financial institutions comprise all of them. So how healthy are Nigerian banks?
Nigerian banks are healthy. Even if you are in doubt of anything, you cannot miss your money. Why? Because we are here.
Okay.
The deposit insurance is around. Apart from deposit insurance, they are being examined in the field. Apart from that, we examine them off-site. And any action we take, they normally comply. And things are working.
So how healthy is this financial system?
The financial system is made of many sectors.
Yes, many sectors, because one sector can actually bring down another sector.
I can talk to you more about the one that is concerning me, those who are insured. But generally, if you talk, I think the financial system is working because we have what we call FSRCC. It's a committee, and we sit down and every sector, capital market, insurance, excuse me, the banking sector, the mortgage institutions will sit down to look at the challenges and propose solutions collectively. And the governor of the central bank is the chairman, and it works.
Yeah, so how adequate is the depositor's guarantee? How does it strengthen the financial system?
Well, people look at the insurance of 500,000 as small. That is also ignorance. 500,000 per account or per customer in Nigeria has covered more than 90% of the bank accounts in the country. Not out of every 10 people, only 9 are having 500,000 and above.
Okay, so you're saying that the number of customers, bank customers in Nigeria, those that have 500,000 and less are more?
At least 9 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah. So we are 100%, we have covered over 90%, and any insurance that can cover 90% of your own problem, I think you have been insured.
So that means that those
and the 200,000 for the microfinance is the same thing.
So for those that have more than 1 million, 5 million,
just 1 out of 10.
Billionaires,
just 1 out of 10.
Billionaire accounts
is 1 out of 10.
Really, I think this is a big.
I don't know how much you have. Let me ask you.
You tell me by you
will tell me yours. You're insured.
You tell me yours first before I tell you mine.
That's it.
All right. Let's go to Mr. Ekechi. The risk-based supervision framework is one of the transformational.
It's an operation.
That is
okay. Yes, he will take that. It's one of the transformational programs of FSS2020. If we take a look at the benefit of this initiative, how has it been so far for us to be able to mitigate the risk associated with insured deposit money banks?
We'll go into a little history. When we started the bank, when we started the NDIC, we were doing examination of banks with Central Bank of Nigeria. We use compliance, that's what we call it, history. What has happened in the bank, based on that you can determine whether they are healthy or not. Now it has gone beyond that. Why we call it risk-based is proactive. We look at the future, we look at the country, we look at the sector, we look at the global economy to see what are the risks inherent. No 2 banks are the same, take note. This bank can be expert in capital market, another bank is into mortgages, one is trade finance, is only dealing with buying, selling, import, sell and go back. Some banks are into different kind of, your products will tell us the kind of risk your business inherits. So based on that, we have to look at the future, look at the environment, determine the kind of risk that may emanate from such a business and advise appropriately. And where we see things, or we see risk that the bank will not see, it's our duty to highlight it to them so that we can put mitigants against it. And the risk-based approach was introduced in 2009 by the former Emir of Kano, and it is working perfectly, and it helps us.
It's still the current Emir of Kano, former
CBN governor, former CBN governor, the current Emir of Kano. No, we cannot do that. He brought it to us, and it is working perfectly. And when we submit the report, it's proactive, and it limits our resources also as a regulator. Formally, we go to each bank, assuming they are all the same. Now we know the risk. Based on the risk in that bank, we know the kind of resources to deploy in terms of human money, human resources, cash, equipment to use. We determine not two banks, as I said, the same. The people going to one bank could be different in terms of.
So are you now saying that NDIC has the capacity to follow through on this?
No, we are doing it.
The issue of capacity.
Yeah.
I know you tell me you have offices around.
We have zonal offices in about 8 locations. And apart from that, we train our people on the risk-based approach to supervision, and it's working.
Okay. Yeah. What other programs is the NDIC doing to strengthen and deepen the financial system in line with the FSS20? I'm so particular about this FSS20. Like you said, we've been following it since 2006, as it were. Yeah. I've been in several meetings. Yeah. I think the last one I attended was even in December, where the policy framework was revised and reviewed.
We were there.
Yes, you know, I was there for, I think, for 2 days. Yeah. Even when the last CBN governor, Emir of Kano, I was also in that room for like 3 days brainstorming. I was watching the brainstorming amongst all the financial institutions. So I'm really particular about what your institution is also doing to deepen the financial system.
Let me take that. Okay. The main issue is we're talking of financial system
stability.
Strategy.
Yeah.
And we're talking of stability. Stability only comes when there's confidence in the system. How do you entrench confidence in the system? That's why the NDIC introduced a pass-through deposit insurance. People who have no bank account, but you are on mobile money, you know Paga, maybe you heard about it as an example. We're saying whoever has transaction with the mobile money operators, we have covered him up to 500,000, equivalent to the customer of a bank. And we try as much as possible to ensure that wherever these mobile money operators have their accounts, the banks are operating well. We don't allow them to collapse. That is one idea. Then secondly, you cannot do financial system. We're talking about financial inclusion. People should be, the unbanked should be banked. The only way you can allow them to come in is by allowing them to know that their money is safe. If they don't know you, they don't have no access to the banking hall. They have never been to a bank. You have agency bank going around, you go to a filling station, drop your this and take money, and you can deposit money. So if they don't have confidence that we are there to guarantee their money, a lot of people will run away from it. So that has bring in increase in financial inclusion. Yeah. People are interested in that. And apart from that, publicity matters. We have gone around, we do trade fair shows, we go to universities, we have introduced deposit insurance courses in universities, we have a partnership with the Chartered Institute of Bankers. This is to create awareness. Education is different from financial education. There are a lot of people who are educated, they cannot even read their bank statement. Yeah. But NDIC is there. Secondly, we protect you. Should a bank cheat you, mobile operator cheat you, write a letter to NDIC, we investigate, and we get back to you. And we have a dedicated line, 247. You can make a call. That my bank has done this to us. We make sure we get a rule for you.
Okay, let
me add to that. The NDIC have developed a lot of supervisory tools to enable it assess the health condition of the banks and the industry. We have an early warning system and test on ground to be able to identify potential real problems. So the advantage of that is to help us to be proactive, like he said, and take prompt remedial actions. Now, on the industry as a whole, the industry is subjected to stress testing under different scenarios. And once any vulnerability is picked up, the NDIC, working again in concert with Central Bank, will also be able to move in promptly.
How has the relationship with the Central Bank been?
Very cordial, because there's a lot of complementarity in our functions, in our roles, as far as supervision is concerned,
and Sorry, madam. And to add to that, if you're talking about the relationship with CBN, maybe you're not aware, CBN owns NDIC 60%.
Yeah. I am aware, but I had to ask that question.
I've told you,
and I knew why I asked that question.
And I've told you, we always do joint examinations since 2009. That's a period of almost 10 years. And when we're starting the examination, each team, there's CBN NDIC staff, and some banks NDIC will lead, while some banks CBN will lead, and we exchange our reports.
So what's the period at which you have your stress tests? Do you go in periodically?
No,
do you understand? Like let's say in a year, how long do you have how many stress tests do you conduct?
Off-site, we do stress tests quarterly.
Okay.
We look at the system, the capital adequacy, the liquidity
Ratio
system, what is the problem. Then we now know what is the main problem. Is it one sector that is contributing? Is there any multiplier effect? One bank is affecting the others. What is the contagion in the whole system?
Yeah.
And then what is the relationship between the banking industry to the capital market? How much are we exposed? And if we're exposed, how do we... Do you understand what I mean?
Yes,
so
I do.
we do a lot of tests, and we do a lot of, and we make
Even from your
recommendations.
reports yearly, I see the results of some of those.
Including if there's a trend in the
tests.
system, which sector is going here, we look at it. Fraud and forgeries, we look at it. And
it's equally important to let Nigerians know that international financial centers thrive on capacity of the human capital. So much money is invested, and NDIC has made a lot of investment in developing its human capital, you know, and investing in digital capacity. Now, legal reform is critical when you talk about financial system development. And currently, NDIC is pushing the amendment of its acts to give us more latitude and impetus to be able to do our deposit insurance and supervisory functions.
But with this picture both of you are painting, does it mean that
my picture.
Yes, the picture you are painting.
Coloring.
This picture you are painting, does it mean that NDIC doesn't have challenges at all?
No, let me tell you, Umar. We have quite a lot of challenges, but we have the latitude to face those challenges. Now, it's important also to let Nigerians know that NDIC is one public sector agency that has a private sector DNA. As we speak, we have a 2016-2020 strategic plan driving what we do. As we speak, we have earned a 3-in-1 ISO certification by the British Standard Institute. As we speak, we have developed quite a lot of things. We are looking beyond today. And that is why management had the courage to say they want to be the best in the world. Now, the challenges we face, both on the banks that are alive, has more to do with corporate governance practices. It's not at the level we want that to be. On the debt bank that we are managing post-mortem, we have also seen the problem and pressure such, lax corporate governance system could place us on in terms of the quality of their loans, in terms of having the critical document that you can use to prove indebtedness. And now the protracted judicial processes that slow down, recovery efforts of the corporation is part of it. Now, the law, the fact that for the last 2-3 years, we have been on this journey towards improving and amending our act. It's a big one. Now, because this act, we draw our impetus, operational impetus from this act. And we want to speak to the 8th National Assembly to do all it could to be able to pass that act to enable us improve on our performance.
Okay, we just have 2 minutes to the end of the program.
In addition to what you said, one of the challenges is publicity. We started by saying that people are ignorant of what NDIC is. NDIC is only known when there's crisis. When there's peace in the financial system, nobody knows about NDIC. It's only when go no gree go. That's when you see people. That's when you see people say, "Why is NDIC? Why is NDIC?" That is one. And he has mentioned the issue of recovery. Most of the assets in the closed banks, getting them sold is a challenge. Then again, people with small balances, they don't turn up to claim their money.
Yeah.
A lot of people have 10,000, 15,000. They open an account in Maiduguri. They are now in Lagos, and the bank has closed.
The military men,
so we're
the
trying to see
policemen,
how
students.
we can be able to get them students, and we have a lot of small balances to see how we can pay it back. We have a lot.
So that means you need to be out there in terms of telling them if your bank failed in the past.
We're doing publicity.
You can actually
it's a big program.
It's
a unit, and every day we do what we can do the best.
And I don't know if we have a minute to say that.
Less than that.
What one of the things we want to see in the new act is the power to quickly conclude liquidation of, of fair banks by floating an SPA that can manage the assets of such banks in line with Section 4252A of CAMA. Now, when that happens, you are not likely going to see those deceptive large balances in the balance sheet of Fed Bank that will give the impression that perhaps we are not doing a good job.
Okay. You did talk about, just quickly, and I want you to respond like in less than 30 seconds, people can call and get to NDIC if they have any problem.
Yeah.
What are the, what actually has been the most problem that people come up with? Because I know there was a time that NDIC also talked about the high incidence of fraud in banks.
Yeah, well, most of the calls we have is not something to do with fraud. Initially, let's say for the last 2 years, we have cases of ATM, people compromising their PIN, and they're complaining they've seen debit alert in their account. But when you check properly, they compromise their PIN. There's no way somebody can have access to your account unless you have agreed to do that. A lot of people come to our office fuming that their money has been taken. By the time we ask them get the photograph, there's a PIN camera on the ATM. People don't know. By the time you bring it, you say, sorry, it's my son. Or, sorry, it's my husband who took my money. We have such cases. Then we have cases of people calling on the late or the moribund Savannah Bank. It's a bank that has given us a problem. We have gone to revoke the license. Central Bank did it. They went to court. They said we should revoke the license, and it's a big challenge. That one is an issue that is really a challenge to us. Okay. Because we cannot pay because the bank license is still a bank. It has not been revoked yet.
Revoked yet.
So that is a problem.
Very quickly, in 5 seconds, FSS 2020 initiative, is it still achievable? Well, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
It will certainly take us to the Eldorado.